A very good afternoon to all the students of class 9. Today I'm going to take on the poem Wind, written by Subramanya Bharati. Now this poem was written in Tamil and then later on was translated by A.K. Ramanujan into English. It was originally written in Tamil and later translated into English by A.K. Ramanujan. Now this poem, it talks about the wind and in its destructive element and where it destroys things, and the poem actually begins on a request note, an appeal made by the poet to the wind to blow gently, to blow softly, so that everybody can enjoy the wind. As we all know that air is very vital for our existence. So in the poem, we can see that the poet has used wind, or depicted wind as a creator as well as a destroyer. So it begins on a destructive note, how the wind destroys everything. But in its closing lines, it does say that we praise the wind, because it's very, very vital for our existence. We cannot live without air. We cannot exist without air. So basically this poem contains a deeper metaphorical meaning. The poet has taken the wind, but this wind symbolizes a deeper meaning. And the wind symbolizes the adversities that we face in life. Adversities are the struggles, the difficult times, the hurdles, the obstacles, the challenges that we face in life. And the opposite of adversity is prosperity. Prosperity is a time when we flourish, when we grow, and we are happy, and everything is very comfortable. It's a rosy scenario, but adversity is the difficult time in life that we all face. Okay, so here the wind symbolizes the challenges and the difficulties that we face. Some people can face all these challenges and difficulties and hurdles in a very brave manner, in a courageous manner. But some people cannot face all these things and they buckle down, they surrender, they yield, they give up, they do not fight. And as a result, what happens? Their lives are ruined, they are destroyed. But people who are firm, people who are strong, and they can face all these adversities and these challenges and overcome all these obstacles and hurdles in life, they emerge victorious. So the deeper meaning is for everybody to be strong and brave and face these challenges of life. Because what is life? Life is basically a big challenge, Life is not a bed of roses. We have to face so many difficulties in life, so many problems that we encounter in our day-to-day lives. But the advice given by the poet is to be firm and strong and face them and overcome them. And if we are strong and firm and we can face all these problems, then all these problems will not seem troublesome. So then we can say that these problems, we can befriend them, we can be friendly with those problems if we have the courage and the strength to face them all and overcome them all. Then they will not be so troublesome, they will not be so cumbersome, they will not be annoying, they will not be able to defeat us. So basically that is the whole message given in the poem, and the moral of the poem is also to be firm and strong. And how the poet has depicted it, that God also helps those who help themselves. You've heard that. So if you're firm and strong, God will also be on your side and will help you. But if you are weak, nobody will be there to support you. So you have to face it, you have to fight it. So that is what it all is about, because it says the wind god, when it addresses, it places the wind on a high pedestal, and calls it the wind god. So wind god will only befriend us, will be friendly with us, will shower us with blessings only when we become firm and strong and we show that we can fight all these obstacles, and we will not surrender, we will not bow down before all these problems. Okay. So the poem depicts the power of the wind and how it is destructive. It has been shown in its violent element or form, as with a fierce force it causes a lot of destruction. The poet has linked the powerful wind with the difficulties, the obstacles and struggles of life. Just like the wind that destroys everything weak, the difficulties and adversities in life can also break down weak people. And the only way to withstand or to face the wind is to become strong. And this is what the poet encourages the readers to have: courage and determination to face all difficulties in life and all these challenges by being strong. We can face all the difficulties, the wind as well as the difficulties. If we face bravely and courageously, then we can achieve success. Okay. Now the poem is in blank verse or free verse. That means there is no rhyme pattern. Okay. The last words in all the lines, they do not rhyme at all with each other. So it is in blank verse or free verse. Okay. Now as the poem begins, we can see that wind comes softly, gently, slowly. Okay. And don't break the shutters of the windows. Don't scatter the papers. Don't throw down the books on the shelf. Okay. There, look what you did. You threw them all down. Now the poem begins on an appeal, a request by the poet to the wind that please come softly. And it's asking him, requesting him not to break the shutters of the windows, okay? And not to scatter the papers, not to throw down the books on the shelf. Now here, if you notice, there are 3 lines: don't. Don't break the shutters, don't scatter the papers, don't throw down the books on the shelf. 3 lines are beginning with the same word, don't. So the figure of speech here is anaphora. Okay, this figure of speech is anaphora because the same word has been repeated to open all these 3 lines. Then if you notice, there, look what you did. Now here the poet has addressed the wind as a person. So we can see that the figure of speech personification has been used. The poet has personified the wind, okay? But what happens? The wind did not pay any attention to the poet's request because the poet then says, look what you did. You threw them all down, you tore the pages of the book, and you brought rain again. Now, if you see again, if you notice in these 2 lines, the word you, both the lines are beginning with the word you, okay? You tore the pages, you brought rain. So again, we see that the figure of speech used here is anaphora, okay? Now here the poet is a little angry and it blames the wind to bring about so much of destruction, and also angry that in addition it has brought with it rain, okay? It has brought about rain along with it. Then the poet says, you're very clever at poking fun at weaklings. So how is the wind clever? Because it's clever because it's making fun of all the weak people, okay? But it's clever. That is why it's making fun of the weak people. Then frail crumbling houses, crumbling doors, crumbling rafters, crumbling wood, crumbling bodies, crumbling lives, crumbling hearts. So it's, the word crumbling has been repeated. So figure of speech here is repetition. And it has brought about, what is crumbling? Crumbling is disintegrating, breaking into small bits. Don't we say we crumble a cookie to put in the dessert? Crumble it. Make it into small pieces. So here, crumbling, there are so many synonyms that can be used when questions are being asked. So synonyms for crumbling could be, breaking, then it is deterioration, it is disintegration, it is degeneration. Okay, so crumbling, breaking into small little parts. So many times we say the crumbling ruins of the castle. The castle is in ruins and the ruins are also breaking or falling apart, into pieces kind of thing. So we say crumbling ruins. Now here, if you notice, the word crumbling has been used 7 times. Okay, so it's very important for your MCQs. You can get any of these kinds of tricky things. How many times has crumbling been used? So it has been used 7 times. Now, at this point of time, the poet is feeling very sad to see all this destruction and ruin, because the houses have fallen apart, they have crumbled, the doors have fallen off, the windows, the shutters have broken, okay? The crumbling rafters. Now, rafters are the columns of support that are supporting the roof, okay? Then crumbling wood, everything made out of wood, everything is crumbling, breaking. And bodies, naturally the weak people, everybody destroyed, crumbling lives, crumbling hearts. Because destruction brings about sorrow, sadness for everybody, okay? So it's the living things as well as the non-living things. The non-living things would include the houses, the windows, the wood, and living things would include the bodies, the lives of people, the hearts of people, which are saddened to see all this destruction. Then it says, the wind god winnows and crushes them all. Now the wind god here, this is to show the power of the wind, the wind god, okay, and that it has, it winnows. Now, winnowing is a term which we use in agriculture when the farmers winnow their harvest, they winnow it, and if you've seen in the villages and all, we have this small little, kind of chaj, what we call in Hindi, and they put the pulses or whatever has to be winnowed, cleaned. That is to separate the grain from the chaff. Chaff is the covering of it, the husk, the covering on the grain. So they winnow it like that, and the current of air, as with the wind, the chaff, which is very light, it, is blown away and the grain is left behind. So that is winnowing. So separating the chaff from the grain. So why this word has been used here? This is to see that, when this strong wind comes, that is when adversity comes, when difficulty comes, when challenges come, that is a process of sifting, separating that who are the strong and who are the weak. So the strong will face it all and they will move on, they'll be prosperous and they'll flourish, okay? They'll grow, improve, But here when the weak ones, the ones who surrender, who cannot face all these challenges, they will get termed as the weaklings, okay, and they will have to face it all, even in a very averse manner, that kind of thing. So winnowing here, it is these difficulties come, and when these difficulties come, God can see who is weak and who is strong, and God helps only the ones who are strong, who don't give up easily, who don't surrender easily. So that is why this word winnows has come in here. And crushes them all the weak ones, they are crushed. All these hardships and these struggles, when they come, and if people are not able to cope with it, people are not able to face it, then they get crushed, they get ruined, okay? Falling into fragments, falling into pieces, get ruined, okay? Okay. So winnow, remember, is separating the chaff, C-H-A-F-F, the chaff from the grain, the cover that is there on the grain, the husk, okay? All right, we go on to the next line. Now this anaphora, I've told you, you is anaphora. Now, here in these lines where frail crumbling houses and crumbling doors, crumbling rafters, crumbling wood, crumbling bodies, in all this line, the poet is feeling very sad, and he has a critical tone, to see that how people give in and surrender and see what happens to them, So the tone of the poet is critical, okay? Then we go on to the next lines 12 to 21. He won't do what you tell him. He won't do. Who is the he here in this line? This means the wind, okay? The wind. So come, let's build strong homes. Let's joint the doors firmly. Now here, the poet says that the wind did not pay heed to his request, and brought in, strong blowing winds and violent winds, and brought around along the rain also. So when he didn't listen, so then the poet has a little bit of advice to give. So when you know that things don't work out, so for future, you have to be prepared. You have to make preparations for the future. So what is the preparation? So he says, let's build strong homes so that the wind cannot blow it down, cannot ruin it, cannot destroy it. Let's join the doors firmly. Let's fix them firmly, okay? And similarly, we must practice, we must try to firm the body, make the heart steadfast, strong, okay? And determined. There should be grit and determination, and there should be loyalty towards life, loyalty towards the life that we are living, So make the heart steadfast, okay? So preparations have to be made, okay? So we have to make ourselves strong. Like the houses and the doors and windows have to be made strong to withstand the gusty winds, okay? The violent winds, the ferocious winds. And what about us? To face the adversities, we also have to gear up. We also have to make ourselves strong. We have to make our mind strong. We have to make our heart strong. We have to make our body strong. And we should be courageous, brave, determined, and confident. Only then the wind will be friends with us. Okay? So the poet is saying, don't lose heart. And he encourages the readers to become bold and strong, not to be timid, but to be bold and strong, to face all the troubles in life, and to practice very hard, How do you practice? You have to keep telling yourselves that, no, I'm not going to give in, I'm not giving, because it is your willpower, Nobody can influence you until you surrender yourself, So you have the strength, the inner strength to build yourself, and to say that I am not going to surrender, I'm not going to yield, I'm not going to give in, I'm going to fight. So everything has to come from within, So we have to practice that hard to get a firm mind as well as a strong body to face any challenges. Only then the wind will befriend us, and God will also befriend us and help us if we decide to become strong in heart, mind, and body. Okay? Do this what? This means make yourselves strong. Okay? Do this. If you take my advice, if you follow this, and if you do this, then the wind will be friends with us. Then the wind will not be able to destroy us. The difficulties will not be able to destroy us. Okay? The wind blows out weak fires. He makes strong fires roar and flourish. Now, if there is a small little weak fire, small tiny little flame, and the wind comes, then what will happen? The wind will blow it out, okay? Because it cannot stand the pressure of the wind and it gets blown out, okay? But if the fire is strong, it's roaring, it's crackling, it's, the flames are rising high, okay? It's a blazing fire. Then when the wind comes, what happens? The blazing fire will not get blown out. The blazing fire will, spread further, and the flames will rise higher. That is what happens because that is a strong fire, and it can withstand, the pressure of the wind, the current of the wind. Okay, so what happens? It will spread even further. It will blow further. Okay, so the strong fire will roar and flourish. It will grow, it will increase, it will spread. The flames will rise higher, but it will not get blown out. So this is what a concrete example given by the poet, that a weak fire will get blown out. Okay, as soon as the wind comes, it'll die out. It'll extinguish. It'll be blown out. But if there is a strong fire and then the wind comes, the fire will get even stronger and it will flourish, it will spread. Okay, so if we are strong and we face all difficulties and hardships in life, all the challenges, all the obstacles, if we are able to overcome, we will emerge stronger, better, and we will be victorious, we will be successful. Just as they say, to get more shine to the gold, it has to go through the furnace, the temperature, through a great amount of heat it has to go through, and then only it shines. So similarly, sweet are the uses of adversity. Adversity, the hard times. Okay, so what is sweetness in adversity? That it teaches us so many things, that after that period, because nothing remains forever, it's a cycle that goes on: joy and sorrow, adversity, prosperity. Okay, so after facing an adversity, we come out stronger. We are better experienced, and we are stronger, and we can face other challenges also equally well. So that is the comparison given between the weak fire and the strong fire. So weak people will be destroyed, ruined. Okay, and the stronger people, they will be able to emerge victorious and successful. So many times we see that people committing suicide. And that is one reason, that they're not being able to face life. They're not being able to face those challenges, those hardships that are coming in their way. They just surrender. So they ruin their lives. But if we make ourselves stronger, and if some problem is there, if we face it, there's a solution to everything. But one has to have that strength of mind and body, that you have to be very, very strong-willed. Your will should be very, very strong. So you have to fight it out yourself. And nobody can influence you till it comes from within, So that is what is making yourselves strong, firm, determined, and confident. Okay? His friendship is good. We praise him every day. So being friends with the wind, okay, being friends with adversity, that everything is good, okay? And we praise him every day. As I told you, we praise him every day because air is very vital for all of us to exist. We cannot exist without air. We need air to breathe, okay? So it's very important. So we praise him every day because we need it, okay? Now, in these lines, we can see the poet has described the wind both as a creator and a destroyer, okay? But it depends on us what we want to see it as, okay? We want to see it only as a creator. So we have to make ourselves strong and powerful. And how can we say a destroyer? As a destroyer, it blows out the weak fire, and as a creator, it encourages, it nurtures the strong fire. So the wind destroys the weak and it flourishes the strong. Strong people will stop fearing the wind, or will stop fearing the challenges and not allowing them to bring them any kind of harm. Okay? We should be physically, mentally, emotionally strong, firm, and determined, and we should prepare ourselves. No matter what comes our way, we will not surrender. So this is basically what the poet, wants to convey to the readers. Okay. Now, I'll just do a few question answers with you. Why does the poet ask the wind to come softly at the beginning of the poem? Okay. the poet requests or makes an appeal to the wind to come softly so that peace and harmony and order may be maintained. Okay, people want to be, live in such an atmosphere where there is peace, harmony, okay, and where they can enjoy, this breeze or this air or this wind that is blowing. So he says, come softly, because when it's blowing softly, it's very pleasant and everybody enjoys the breeze, okay? So it wants peace and goodness for everybody. What happens when the wind blows out strongly or fiercely? It creates a mess all around and it disturbs everything and everyone in society by causing destruction and loss to life and loss to property also. And those whose property is destroyed, naturally, they face a lot of sorrow and grief, okay? How does the wind make or poke fun of the weaklings? Poke fun is make fun, okay? Now, the wind is considered to be clever. That is why it's making fun of the weaklings. Its destructive power harms the weak persons and the delicate things, the fragile things, okay, the frail people, the weak people, without showing any mercy, okay? It crushes all the weak and the fragile. Thus, including both the houses, the doors, and even human hearts and lives. When these storms come, cyclones come, and all this happens, as these tsunamis come, then what happens? There's so much of destruction and chaos all around. What does wind symbolize? The wind symbolizes all difficulties, struggles, and obstacles in life. Just like the houses have to face strong winds, we as humans also have to face many hardships in life, boldly and confidently. Otherwise, it will destroy us. Weak people get afraid and they break down. A weak person breaks down like a weak building and crumbles. Who all are disturbed by the blowing of the wind and who is not? People who are physically weak and mentally not determined, they get disturbed by the wind. Bold, brave, and courageous people do not get disturbed by the wind. What is the symbolism of winnowing? Okay, a comparison is made between wheat and the people or any grain. Wheat is winnowed to separate the grain from the chaff. Okay, the wind god also separates the strong people from the weak people. Just as the problems will not listen to us and keep coming, so we should be prepared. Like he says, he did not listen and he's come, the wind has come. So the problems also will not listen to us. They keep coming again and again after intervals, okay? Some problem or the other keeps cropping up. So just as the problems do not listen to us and they keep coming, so we should be prepared, okay? Just as the houses should be built strongly, doors, windows firmly attached, firmly attached, so that the wind cannot break them down, okay? So we also should make our minds, hearts, and bodies strong to face these challenges. If we are strong, these challenges will become our friends and we will not feel them to be troublesome. Okay. Now, why has the poet addressed the wind as wind god? So the poet has kept the wind on a high pedestal as a mark of respect, okay? And the weaklings get destroyed, but the strong flourish and they become stronger. That we've just done. Just as a weak fire dies out, okay, immediately, but a strong fire flourishes, roars, flourishes, and spreads. We too emerge stronger and victorious on facing adversity. Okay. So if we have to go through a few MCQs, as I told you, please learn the names of the poets and the authors. Okay, so if you get Wind is written by, Subramanya Bharati and it's written in Tamil. okay? And who translated it? A.K. Ramanujan translated it into English. How does the poet want the wind to come? Fast, slowly, dimly, in a tempestuous way. Now, tempestuous comes from the word tempest. That's a storm, so stormy way. So the poet wants the wind to come slowly, in a gentle manner. What does crumbling hearts mean? Old people, weak people, rich people, or despondent people, sad people, weak people. What is the answer? Weak people. The wind makes fun of the rich, the strong, the weak, the poor. It makes fun of the weak. Don't break. Give the poetic device in the following. Don't break the shutters of the windows. Don't scatter the paper, as I had told you, which is the figure of speech. Simile, metaphor, anaphora, hyperbole. It is it is anaphora. And even in line 6, 7, 8, we have anaphora with the word you. Next, what is the effect of the wind on the weak fire? It makes them stronger, or it blows them out, or lets them burn as before, or all the above. It blows it out. Okay. Next question. We can make friends with the wind by becoming, I think if you know the right answer, there's no use of going through the others. We can make friends with the wind by becoming strong. So I'll just do the right ones, okay? The wind was originally written in Tamil. Wind is a symbol of adversities in life or prosperity in life. Adversity. Prosperity is the opposite of adversity. Prosperity is good times. Next question. What sort of houses does the poet advise us to make? Strong houses. Strong houses. What does the poet want the wind to do? The poet wants the wind not to break the shutters of the windows, not to scatter the papers, not to throw down the books from the shelf, okay, all those things. You must learn them 1, 2, 3, 4 because sometimes when you have all the 3 and then the 4th option will be all of the above. So if all of them you know are right, then you just have to put all of the above. What is the moral of the poem? The moral of the poem is to be firm and strong and not to surrender, not to yield, okay? An example of alliteration. Now, alliteration is when we have the first letters of words which are same. Wind winnows. Like they've given examples, crumbling houses, nothing matching, okay? Books on the shelf, nothing matching. Wind winnows. So W for wind and W for winnows. So that is the answer. The wind does not listen to us. What should we do? What should we do? We should make ourselves strong to face it. What is the effect of wind on the strong? The effect of the wind on the strong is that it makes them roar and flourish. On the strong fire, roar and flourish. He won't do what you tell him. Who is the he in the lines? It is the wind. The next question, the poet in the poem talks to the forest, the wind, the fire, the rain. It talks to the wind. Meaning of the word frail. The meaning of the word frail is weak. Okay, weak. And as I told you, what is the meaning of the word rafter? It is a beam which supports the roof. Who translated the poem into English? A.K. Ramanujan. Okay, what is the rhyme scheme of the poem? They've given various rhyme schemes and one option is free verse or blank verse. It could be either of the two, free verse or blank verse. So you straight away have to say free verse or blank verse because there is no rhyme pattern. Crumbling houses, crumbling doors, crumbling rafters. Which poetic device has been used here? This is repetition. Okay, because the word crumbling has been repeated so many times, 7 times as I told you. Okay. Next, which figure of speech is not used in the poem Wind? Alliteration is there, wind winnows, we just did that. Anaphora is there, okay, don't, and you in 6, 7, 8 lines. Then metaphor, the whole poem is a metaphor. Metaphorically, this has been done because we are not basically talking about the wind, we are talking about the adversities and the difficulties that we come across in life. So metaphor also has been used. Only simile has not been used. Simile has not been used in the poem. Now, what is winnowing? Winnowing is a kind of a sorting process, okay, sorting out, because it separates the grain from the chaff, or separates the chaff from the grain. Okay. Whom does the wind god like? Wind god likes only the strong people. What does the word prosper mean? Prosper means to flourish, to grow, to be prosperous, okay, that way. Okay, to flourish. A word in the poem which is the antonym of foolish. Clever. The answer is clever, because they say that the wind is clever, that is why it pokes fun at the weak people. A word in the poem that stands for to fix means to join them strongly. Another question is, find a synonym for the word loyal in the poem. The word would be steadfast. And give a word which means the same as thrown in different directions. That is scatter. Scatter. So most of it I have tried to cover up with you. So if you have any problems, you can just pen them down in the comment section and I will take it up for you, okay? But just remember, in that first answer, you must remember the order that is given there. Tore the pages of the book and break the shutters of the windows, scatter the papers, throw down books on the shelf, okay? So you tore the pages of the book and brought rain. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, almost 6 things, okay? So please go through the poem very, very carefully, and remember, the whole poem is metaphorically taken up, okay? Because basically the poem is about wind, but indirectly the poet wants to tell us about the difficulties, hardships and challenges that we face in life, and we can overcome them all if we are strong, brave, confident and determined, okay? So thank you so much for watching, listening. God bless you all.